As we all know, drones help to see the most remote corners of the planet as well as shoot important events. They allow us to reach a whole new level of data acquisition, thanks to which we can look at the terrain and architectural structures from a different angle and from a bird's eye view. In this episode, you will witness the most amazing footage captured by drones all around the world. First of all, subscribe to our channel and like this video. Harihar Fort in India is built on top of a lonely rock in which giant stone steps are cut down. They attract tourists and those who want to test their strength. It is believed that dolphins are waiting for sets with waves as well as people. Dolphin surfers masterfully catch a wave, and they do it solely for the sake of entertainment. The Dead Sea is dense and saturated with minerals. It is 8 or 9 times saltier than the world's oceans. The salt deposits here are so incredible that you can even run on them. In the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, there is Meskel Square, which scares even experienced drivers from other countries. As you can see, it is difficult to imagine how you can drive through this unregulated intersection. If it seems to you that such an ordinary multicolored phenomenon as a rainbow that appears after the rain has the shape of an arc, then you're wrong. From the ground, only a semicircle is visible, but if you move higher, sometimes you can see its entire shape. The incredibly beautiful Chinese village of Wangshan is located right on the slope of the cliff. I wonder what are the advantages of such housing in addition to the picturesque view. Feedlots for livestock are becoming more and more popular all over the world. The animals here can't move a lot, but they are in fresh air and receive enhanced nutrition. These are modern, complex, efficient engineering structures consisting of aviaries, feeding tables, trenches, and much more. At first glance, it may seem that this is some kind of fantastic boat flying over the forest. In fact, it's just that the water of the lake is so clean that an illusion is created. This is the confluence of the Jieling and Yangtze rivers in China. Two streams of water connect but do not mix due to the difference in temperature and flow rate. Thanks to the drone shooting, you can see a rare sight, the destruction of an entire area of the city. Despite climate change and global warming, icebreakers in the Arctic will not disappear because they are necessary to ensure safe navigation in icy waters. The Shaolongdi Dam in China performs several tasks. It protects from floods, supplies residents and industry with water, and also produces electricity in colossal volumes. Hot air balloon flight gives an unforgettable experience. What can I say about having a picnic at a height? Inside Shanghai, many streets are duplicated by overpasses intersecting at different levels. At the same time, internal and external ring roads have been built. At night, they just look amazing. The owners of these yachts should start worrying about how safe it is to be near this ship. There are not so many corners on our planet where the water is so clean. It is still able to surprise travelers with its natural, pristine, and unique beauty. Horses are herd animals because peaceful herbivores feel relatively safe only in a herd. The drone managed to shoot a running herd of horses in all its glory. Driving here, I really want to admire the stunning scenery, but you should not be distracted. After all, such a road can be dangerous, and every mistake can become fatal. Modern bridges do not just connect the banks of the rivers, but are real engineering masterpieces. The ring bridge over a shallow lagoon in Uruguay is no exception. It has increased passenger traffic and simplified life for residents of the coastal zone and tourists. There is no shortage of human resources in China. This is another reason to organize and shoot amazing flash mobs. China is famous for its confusing traffic interchanges, but the Qianchun interchange in Guizhou is the only one that actually looks like a giant roller coaster for cars and trucks. This incredibly complex infrastructure project has been called a nightmare for motorists who are trying to find the right road. This magnificent glass bridge over a 1,200-meter deep abyss has been built on Mount Taishan in China. A few years ago, one of the glass plates cracked, which caused real panic and horror among tourists. It has been renovated, but the effect has been preserved, which is so impressive and attracts tourists. Marine animals are no stranger to spending time with their families. The drone managed to capture the amazing moment when two adult whales and a baby swim together on the water's surface. The destruction of buildings should be perfectly planned so that neighboring buildings and objects remain intact. In this case, the organizers knew exactly what they were doing and did a great job. They say that the Pongur waterfall is the most beautiful in Vietnam. It is not striking in size, while its interesting structure and appearance are much more important. In the western part of Switzerland, there is an unusual meeting place of two rivers, Rhone and Arve. The waters of the Rhone are of a noble saturated blue color. The waters of the Arve are muddy gray due to the fact that a stormy stream lifts salt, sand, and chalk washed out of rocks from the bottom. The hammerhead shark has such a strange head shape for a reason. It helps it survive and get prey. However, this time it's gonna stay hungry. In the summer heat, people living in cities have the opportunity to relax and have fun in water parks. That's just the number of visitors can be very large. Baleen whales reach a mass of more than 150 tons, so their appetite is appropriate. Sometimes it's enough for it to just open its huge mouth, and small fish will become its prey. The height of the Rappel Dam in Chile is 112 meters. If it is necessary to discharge water, the streams are thrown up so as not to destroy the riverbed. The wine festival in Bordeaux was remembered not only for its drinks, but for a really incredible drone show. Visitors could see several hundred drones in the sky, which lined up in various pictures. The dark depths of the seas and oceans of our planet are fraught with a lot of interesting things. The most amazing creatures live here, and you can also find the remains of not only ships, but also airplanes. Take a look at how the vegetation around the dam is spreading. It looks especially bright against the background of a huge raging stream of water. At first glance, it may seem that these are potatoes or some nuts, but as we get closer, it becomes clearer that these are walruses, or rather, a lot of walruses who decided to cuddle with each other. Seeing a blue whale with your own eyes is a rare pleasure. This marine giant, weighing about 150 tons, can dive into the water to a depth of 140 meters, holding its breath for 8 minutes. In the middle of the Egyptian desert, one can find the Siwa Oasis. Due to the extraction of salt, turquoise salt lakes have formed here, which look very impressive. This is one of the most colorful and vibrant celebrations, which is held every year in some cities in China. This is the Kite Festival. This is the case when a morning jog becomes not just a routine, but something very exciting. From a bird's eye view of Kakora Lake in Australia, you can see massive patterns in the shape of a tree. This effect appeared when the lake overflowed its banks and tea tree oil got into it, thus creating this incredible pattern. From the top of the mountain, you can fly on a paraglider and the views will shock you. And flying between the rocks, you can get an unforgettable experience. Slope Point in New Zealand is a place where you can admire the wonderful scenery. However, they are not even striking, but unusual trees of a special shape, which due to constant winds, have bent and acquired a surreal appearance. The drone is able to capture all the greatness of the elements and the amazing skill of the surfer. Only a person who is definitely not afraid of heights can decide on this, or knows that this fear is nothing compared to the emotions received. Usually dolphins gather in small flocks, but sometimes small groups unite for hunting or joint protection from white sharks. Dragon Boat Festival is one of the national holidays that the Chinese adore. At this time, spectacular competitions on the water are organized everywhere. Boats are traditionally decorated with dragon's head and a scaly tail. There are not many living creatures that can survive in conditions of almost waterless sandy deserts. Camels survive in the driest, hottest, and most barren places on Earth. The architects of this hotel in the Caribbean had to work hard. The fact is that they turned the caves into unique dwellings where you can have a great time. The bedrooms here have an unusual rustic interior, there is an opportunity to admire the sea on stunning terraces, and fans of outdoor activities can do cliff jumping, diving, and snorkeling. Real fans of silence and privacy will definitely appreciate this location of the house. That's what a perfect place for a temple means. This peak is quite remote from the daily hustle and bustle and is surrounded by breathtaking views. You need to be lucky to see one whale with your own eyes, but witnessing 4 of them is an event that happens once in a lifetime. It is impossible to look without admiration at such a huge amount of water falling from an amazing height. Niagara Falls is known all over the world, and the video shows that it is really a unique creation of nature. It seems that nature has created insurmountable obstacles in the form of mountains, but because of their persistence, people have found a way to pave the way along the steepest slopes. Everything that happens in this video is extremely strange and cannot be explained. Some of the people are in the water, and the other throws birds at them from above, which for some reason do not take off, but fall into the water. Once upon a time, they defended themselves in this way from uninvited guests who did not come with good intentions. These are not tree branches. This is an invasion of crocodiles on one of the beaches of Brazil. What caused this behavior and their appearance here is a mystery. Modern dams, although they cause some harm to the environment, are built using the latest achievements in science and technology. Now they are striking not only in size and power, but also have an aesthetic appearance. A floating road bridge in Hubei province in China is surrounded by picturesque landscapes. What impresses me even more are its wave movements when a car passes over it. Engineers and architects managed to create a miracle. They built the railway without touching the forest that surrounds it. You might think this is what paradise looks like, a green valley hidden somewhere in the mountains and dotted with flowers. What could be more beautiful? Why do we need car washes at all if we can build such bridges? Even though frequent trips will have a detrimental effect on a car, it's impossible not to fall in love with the surrounding nature. Do you also think that this location has descended from the pages of Alice in Wonderland? Such bright and cheerful colors immediately lift the mood. This small water tornado formed right on the shore of one of the lakes in Switzerland. It lasted for a few minutes and easily disappeared. Tourists like to visit settlements located at high altitudes, but the locals of such villages have to constantly overcome incredible distances on dangerous roads. At the same time, few people in the world can boast of the opportunity to see such an incredible panorama every day. An apple dropped from an oil rig made a splash among the inhabitants of the sea. Despite the fact that a lightning strike is not dangerous for modern aircraft, there is something especially alarming when you watch a thunderstorm from a window at an altitude of 10,000 meters. They say that Tokyo is unthinkable without Shibuya. This is the strangest and most confusing intersection in the world. During a time when pedestrians are waiting for the traffic light signal, several hundred people gather here, and billboards illuminate everything around them at any time of the day. The drone shot a vivid video of a flock of sheep running and forming a huge heart-shaped figure. There is a touching story behind this spectacle. An Australian farmer could not get to the funeral of his beloved aunt, so he honored her memory in this way. The Spitbank Fort Hotel, located in the Solent Strait, is a real naval defensive fort. There are 8 Victorian-style rooms, restaurants, bars, a wine cellar, and swimming pools, and the holes in which the guns once stood have now been transformed into windows opening a picturesque view of the sea. It is not just people who don't like being filmed surreptitiously. Kangaroo also showed its indignation about this and very aggressively rushed to catch the drone. Sheep have a very developed herd instinct. Who would have thought that changing these animals to pasture is such a beautiful sight? And would you dare to run so calmly down the mountainside? Of course, the local views and the red soil under your feet are breathtaking, but do not forget that one wrong move can lead to tragic consequences. After a severe storm, houses near Lakes Erie and Ontario began to look more like ice sculptures. Icicles on some of them could reach 4 meters. If you want to complain to someone about your work, don't do this with this man. His working conditions are not just unusual, but also dangerous. It is curious in which pond this duck swims. Usually such a glow is characteristic only of the sea or ocean when there is a surge in the population of plankton, which shines with a neon blue light. The synchronicity and coherence of the movements of these creatures are impressive. The resulting aerial footage shows how the sheep unite into one dense flock returning from pasture. It looks like this truck was allowed into the so-called Area 51. This is a facility in Nevada where the US Air Force training ground is supposedly located. Everything that happens here is top secret. Therefore, Area 51 arouses fierce public interest. Such a concrete slab looks powerful and strong until the excavator gets to it. Polar stratospheric clouds are formed when the temperature of the lower stratosphere falls below -81 degrees Celsius. Usually they can be seen in the north of Russia and Europe. This is what happens when a hawk gets to work and tries to control a lawn sprayer. From time to time, there are shots that show a huge erect creature covered with fur. It is especially exciting to the imagination of lovers of supernatural phenomena. On the black sands of a beach in Iceland, one can find a crashed American plane. This happened back in 1973, but to this day, the reasons for the emergency landing and the absence of a wing remain a mystery. Mining is one of the most important areas of activity that provides raw materials to various industries, and it is also an expensive and time-consuming process. It requires the use of large-sized heavy machinery and human resources. Beach finds can excite the imagination, and what do you think it could be? In my opinion, someone is going to make a spectacular jump into the water, so it's worth swimming away so as to not get wet. The Faroes are known not only for their harsh weather, but also for their extraordinary fjords, rocks, and waterfalls. Looking at these shots, you can hear the howling of the wind and the sound of waves hitting the rocks. No matter how hard a person tries, the desert is not going to give us its territories. Paved roads in the Dubai desert are laid everywhere. That's just, they need to be found because they are constantly covered with sand. The seabed hides many mysteries and secrets. First of all, I'm talking about sunken ships and aircraft that crashed and sank underwater. Some of them are now being found thanks to satellite images and drones that fly over hard-to-reach places. People build dams in order to conquer the natural power of rivers, but sometimes even the most durable and monumental buildings collapse and fail to cope with the task. Pink flamingos chose the shores of lagoons and various reservoirs for life, and they live in flocks here. The drone was able to record the moment of their return after wintering. One of the most inaccessible places where pilgrims and connoisseurs of historical monuments seek is Abunya Yamata in Ethiopia. The church is carved into the rock at an altitude of 258 meters and can only be reached on foot, and on all sides, it is surrounded by steep cliffs. People choose a lot of ways to use their roofs. They plant gardens, arrange corporate parties, dates, and even sunbathe. When there is no opportunity to go out of town or go on a trip, you have to adapt to the conditions and find other ways to sunbathe. A group of friends were looking for a place to stay after a day in the mountains when they came across something mysterious. They noticed several people who were definitely in a hurry somewhere and who were wearing clothes for rituals. As soon as the mysterious strangers noticed the travelers, they seemed to disappear into thin air. I hope you liked our video. Please don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode. See you in